Alright guys, so today I'll be making a video on how to control problem algae in your aquarium. First off, to control algae you have to know where it comes from or how you can get it. So the basic ways you can get algae is too much phosphates in the water column, not enough water movement, and or you're just keeping your lights on for too many hours in the day. You should you can run them for a minimum of 6 and get away with it. That's how I usually like to run mine to keep algae low. But on this new tank, I have not been doing that. I'm running it for around 12 hours a day, which is really long. And I've been getting red slime algae in saltwater tanks. It's called cyanobacteria, but in freshwater it's green. So you can see it just looks, it's a slime. Kind of, it's a bacteria. And it's really a problem. Same with hair algae. This is caused from too many high amount of phosphates in the water column and running lights for too long. I've done both those, or I have both those, so I got that algae. Also got hair algae in the back. It's no fun to have, but the way you can get rid of hair algae is a Siamese algae eater. I have one in here right now. Not sure where he is. He's somewhere in here. The other kinds of algae you can get are the black beard algae, which grows on plants, like you can see right there. Let's see if this will catch on with the colors better now. Not really, but it's better. Anyway, other types of algae are just the basic brown algae on the glass, like you sometimes get, or the green algae, or in the water column. That's probably the most common type of algae, along with the glass algae, as I like to call it. That algae you can prevent, actually. The way you can do it is by when you cycle, since the fish that you cycle it with, even though you may not, they're not usually as colorful unless you cycle it with like neon tetras, which is not advised at all. They don't really need light. You can turn the light on for an hour a day for when you're feeding them, half hour before, then they eat, then a half hour after. That's one way one way you can control that algae. Another way I really like to control algae in the water column, like the green one, is this stuff. It's called duckweed. It does a very good job of controlling algae, because the duckweed competes with the same stuff as the algae in the water column. It's on my finger. Also, what it absorbs, I believe it's the phosphates is what it also absorbs along with it, and nitrates, so it keeps your nitrates low, which is another causing factor of algae. Because it also provides nice shade to the tank, reducing the light that actually gets into the tank, which is either good or bad depending on your situation. Another way you can control algae in the water column is this stuff called algons. They just, I think this has a phosphate remover on the inside. I would recommend these. Another way you can get rid of it is just water changes and water changes and water changes. But the way it's mainly caused by is running your lights for too long and your tank temperature is too high. Usually freshwater tanks, you keep your tanks at like 78 to 80. It's usually the bloom starts to happen right after you're done cycling your tank, because that's when the nutrients are all in the water column. It's just a load of nutrients you put in right after the tank's done cycling, especially if you use like bacteria additives to help it cycle faster. I personally don't think that works that well. It may help like by a few days, but it's not worth the algae bloom that you'll get. Another way it's caused, again, is just heat. Too much heat will help the algae regenerate faster, so yeah. And I think the best way to get rid of that algae is just beat the tank with water changes. Just keep doing water changes. Make sure your filter cartridges are doing alright, and then also run in your filter kind of like a filter floss or something that'll help get rid of it, because when it's dead it'll be kind of like brown. It won't be as green, or kind of like a white milky color almost. Algae on the glass you can get rid of by fish itself, like autocinkless catfishes. You see one right here. I have 2 of them right now. They do a pretty decent job of keeping the glass off the algae. Then also pond snails. I have a lot of these guys. You can see all over here. All on the log there. I have a bunch of those. Oh, there's a Simon's algae. See, he's going to work on the he was. On the hair algae on the log. They're over that piece of driftwood as well. Another way is plecotomimuses. Those do a really good job at eating algae, except for the clown pleco, which just sits on the. That's what mine did. Just sat under the piece of driftwood, and would not come out at all. So it was trash. I wouldn't recommend clown plecos. Best type of pleco I think is a common pleco, if that's the way your local fish store markets them. I'd get one of those, 1 or 2 of those. I think the albino ones actually do the best job out of all of them. I don't know why, that's what I've observed. There are also shrimp, a mono shrimp. I had 2 of those, don't know where they went, they're pretty small. Yeah, what else? What solutions could you use? Oh yeah, for also algae in the water column, Algifix. This has done miracles for my tanks. This is the best algicide if you were to get one, in my opinion. Really recommend Algifix if you were to get an algicide. They're also, I think, Neurite snails. Those are snails that get rid of it too. I'm trying to think of any other fish that would get rid of it. Another way to combat the algae is just plants. Just plant your tank. You shouldn't have an issue with algae in the water column, or there should be less. Helps your water be much more clear. Trying to think of any other fish that'll get rid of algae on the glass. Yeah. The only way you can really get rid of cyanobacteria is you have to almost siphon the part that's covering. It's kind of a pain, but you can also just hand scrub the hair algae or any kind of algae off. Also, Magnafloats do a great job of getting algae off the glass, so that's my kind of really beginner way of to get rid of algae in your tank. So yeah, also liking and subscribing helps keep algae out of your aquarium, so please subscribe and like.